Oh my god, so it is 1 o'clock in the morning. So now the day I'm supposed to leave, 25 minutes ago, I'm literally trying to fall asleep and I get a text and I'm like, oh my god, who's texting me? It's 12:40 in the morning. And I look and it's a notification from Air Canada, which if you've ever dealt with or heard of Air Canada, they're infamous. I've never had something like this happen, but got a notification that my flight was canceled. Hello folks, I hope you're doing really well and welcome to the first Scotland videos. Despite the clip you would have just seen, my flight has been rebooked. I've had another plane, scheduled another flight, and it's scheduled to take off at the same time and actually arrive 30 minutes or 20 minutes earlier than my original plane. It is Friday, August 2nd at 11:48. My plane boards in less than 2 hours, so I am going to order an Uber and head to the airport and hope that I make it on time, because I did a dumb thing and I went to ride my horse this morning, so I've been scrambling a little bit, but we're good. So let's hop on a plane and go to Scotland. Every time I go on a plane, I swear I leave myself less and less time, and yet it always works out. I was just in and out of airport security in about 10 minutes. After many delays, I've made it to Toronto. So now instead of a 4-hour layover, I have a 2-hour layover. So I made it downtown, dropped my bag off at the train station, and now I'm going to find somewhere to sit. So I have made it to Edinburgh. I didn't really film much in the airport and at the train station because I was just tired. But I'm currently sitting in Princes Street Gardens. It's probably around 8 a.m. And yeah, this is my view.
Not bad at all.
I haven't actually talked that much at all about my time living in Scotland. So it's been 8 years since I lived here. I didn't live in Edinburgh. I lived in a city called Stirling, and I did a study abroad or an exchange. And I was here for 5 months, and it was an experience that genuinely shaped me as a person. And I had some really incredible things happen to me here. I also had one particularly traumatic thing happen to me here. When I arrived here, I was very anxious and I had a lot of mental health issues. I was in my first real relationship and I had a breakup while I was here. I grew more confident and competent as like a human being. Outside of Canada, this is the place to me that has felt a lot like home. So with a lot of the growth and healing that I've done over the last few years, it's kind of a full circle moment for me coming back. So today is Saturday, August 3rd, and I basically have the day to myself until my mom and my sister get here later this afternoon. They're coming down from London until the EE store opens for me to get my SIM card, which is at 10, which is in like 2 hours. I'm just going to enjoy some alone time before what's going to be 10 action-packed, action-filled days. There's a lot of places that I'm returning to, but there's also a lot of places that I'm going that I've never been or that I didn't get to experience or explore in as much detail as I would have liked. A coincidence that one of my best friends from high school is in town at the same time with her mom. So I'm going to meet up with them around noon and we're going to hike Arthur's Seat. So we're actually staying in a little town called Linlithgow, which is 25-30 minutes by train, and it's really lovely. I've also been there before and it's beautiful, so I'm excited to stay there and explore it in more detail. So anyways, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna go walk through Princes Street Gardens, which is where I am right now, and there's a particular viewpoint of Edinburgh Castle from a fountain that I didn't do when I lived here, so I'm gonna go do that now. But you can just see, like, this city honestly is my favorite place in the world, and you can see why. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved living in Stirling, but some of my favorite days were my day trips out to Edinburgh. Like, no matter where you are in this beautiful garden, it's just like pretty views around every corner, and the flowers are stunning. So this is called Ross Fountain, and when you come stand by it, you can get a really nice view of the castle. So Operation Find a SIM card is about see the store. So I'm whipping out the phone because it's just easier. I've got 2.5 hours to kill, so I'm going to check out a few places, one of which is called Circus Lane. It's just a really pretty street, and then another really pretty place called Dean Village, and then I'm going to go to my favorite bookstore in Edinburgh, which is called Armchair Books. Although I will say one thing about Edinburgh that I did kind of forget is how hilly it is. Like, this is basically all downhill. It is going to be hell on the way back up. How pretty and quaint is this? So this walkway that I'm on is apparently called the Water of Leith Walkway, and it is stunning. Am I being kind of cringy by setting up my camera to take those clips? Yes. Do I care? No. This trip, and any trip, is all about making memories. Truly one of my biggest regrets from all my previous travels is not having more videos. Like, I have a lot of pictures, but I have next to no videos, and it makes me kind of sad. I'm trying to figure if this continues, because no, it does not. I have reached a dead end. For me, this walkway is definitely one of those pleasant surprises that you discover along the way that ends up becoming a favorite. It's beautiful. I can almost guarantee that this will be the most in-depth in the moment that I'll be actually taking videos of me talking as I'm going around. Chances are there will be a lot of clips to music with me filling it in the background, and that's fine. That's how I did my Calgary video last year, and I still really enjoyed editing it. I enjoyed looking back on it. So I'm on my way to Armchair Books, which is my favorite bookstore in Edinburgh, and I stumbled upon St. Cuthbert's Kirkyard. It's an old cemetery. There's tons of these in Edinburgh, and it's like stepping into the past. It's insane. Like so. All these big stones. Again, it's like literally like walking into Vampire Diaries almost. And it's just these little things that you can stumble upon when you're on your way to another place. That's just it's my favorite part about traveling. So I'm just taking a little rest before hiking Arthur's Seat. My God, the weather is beautiful. It's literally like my ideal weather. That is what I'm going to be hiking. So it is Monday morning, and I metaphorically died last night after running on about 2 hours of sleep and walking 30,000 steps. So I napped from 7 to 10 p.m. I was awake a little bit at 10 and then slept from 10 p.m. And then I just checked my phone's time. It's 8:30. So I was tired. Today is another Edinburgh day. Bringing my mom and my sister around to some different places. We're only heading in around noon. I'm gonna go to the grocery store, get some food. Actually gonna eat supper here tonight, so save a little bit of money in that regard. So from here on out, footage will be on my phone because I think my camera's broken, which sucks. I dropped it this morning and So we arrived in Edinburgh around 2:30 p.m. That first clip was from the train station, and we went straight out. So we started out by walking to Lady Stairs Close, which is this beautiful courtyard, and it's actually home to the Writers' Museum, which kind of profiles Scottish writers. Then we went to Victoria Terrace and Victoria Street, which is actually the inspiration, or one of the inspiration, behind Diagon Alley in Harry Potter. You'll notice that we visited a lot of Harry Potter themed locations on this day because She Who Must Not Be Named spent a lot of time in Edinburgh while writing the books. From Victoria Street, we made our way through Old Town towards Greyfriars Kirkyard, which is a very famous graveyard in Edinburgh. If you ever want to cry and smile at the same time, look up the story of Greyfriars Bobby. That's all I'll say on that. And walking through Greyfriars Kirkyard gives you a very similar feeling as walking through St. Cuthbert's Kirkyard, which I had discovered the day before, but on a scale times like 10. The scale and size of some of the graves is just absolutely insane, and when you're walking through, you'll often find Harry Potter walking tours, and that's because some names from the books were pulled from this graveyard. So this grave is that of Miss Elizabeth Moody. This one here is William McGonagall, so that's where She Who Must Not Be Named got the names of those two characters, but the most popular one is this one, which is the grave of Thomas Riddle, which is where She Who Must Not Be Named got the name for He Who Must Not Be Named. And then from the kirkyard, we also have a view of George Heriot's school, which is a castle-like boarding school that also provided a little bit of inspiration for Hogwarts. So visit to Greyfriars Kirk done, we made our way back up towards the Royal Mile to just kind of have a gander about there. It was very busy because the Edinburgh Fringe Festival was going on, and our main reason for going down the Royal Mile was to go to a place called Gatehouse Close, which was Carfax Close in season 3 of Outlander. This is the filming location for Jamie's print shop where Jamie and Claire have their reunion. And once we saw that, we walked back up the Royal Mile and went back to Linlithgow for the evening. So we are back in Linlithgow. It is the end of day 2. We had a lovely day in Edinburgh, and now it's like 8:30 p.m. and I'm just walking around Linlithgow because we're staying here. And I came here once when I was on my exchange to go to the palace, which is what I'm standing outside of right now. I'm going to see if I can go around it, and then there's about a 4-kilometer walk around, I think it's called Linlithgow Loch. I'm going to walk off my dinner, and I thought I would bring you with me. That is Linlithgow Palace, and from the palace you can see the loch, and there's a circular walk that goes around it. So even though it's raining, typical Scottish vibe, I'm gonna go do the walk before it gets dark. Sometimes I question Google Maps, and other times it takes you through the most beautiful places. Sad news about my camera, my nice $1,200 like vlogging camera. It fell today. It's now not working. I have to do some YouTubing and hopefully I can figure it out. If not, all my videos might be on my phone from now on. Oh, there's some steps. I wonder if it'll give me a nice view of the palace.
No idea what this is called, but it's just a lovely little park, I guess.
So I didn't actually end up walking around Linlithgow Loch that evening, the story of which I tell later in the video, but it was a really, really wonderful, unexpected evening. But on the Monday, my sister and I went back to Edinburgh to go on an Outlander day tour. My mom was supposed to come with us, but unfortunately she was feeling very sick, so she took this day and the following day at the Airbnb to recover. So we hopped in a Rabbi's day tour bus and went to several filming locations that were used in the first couple of seasons of Outlander. The first of which is Midhope Castle, which is the filming location for Lallybroch. And I'm not gonna lie, walking around here felt very surreal, and you can't actually go in the castle because it's basically just a facade. The inside isn't done up or anything, so it was basically a quick photo stop. But once we had seen it, we had a few minutes, so we just went on a little walk in the woods and we found another filming location. This is where Fergus had his ear chopped off by Blackjack Randall. So this day tour is pretty full of castles, and the second stop of the day was Blackness Castle, which was another new stop for me. And this, in the TV show, was the filming location for Fort William. So it's the location where Jamie sustains the injuries on his back as a young man, and it's also the place where Claire is taken when she's kidnapped by the British and where Jamie comes to rescue her. And something that I found so impressive about this castle in particular compared to others I've seen is just the way that it's literally like hewn out of rock and built into the rock. It's just so cool. And this is the window where Jamie comes in to rescue Claire, and the Great Hall, which I think was the filming location for where that scene took place as well. And just overall, it was a really, really impressive castle. We then went for lunch in Linlithgow actually, before moving on to Doune Castle, which I had visited a few times before because it's quite close to Stirling. And if you're an Outlander fan, you'll definitely recognize this castle as Castle Leoch, which is the seat of Clan Mackenzie. But you might also recognize it if you're a Game of Thrones fan, because I learned that it was the filming location for the pilot episode of Game of Thrones, which is pretty cool. And something that had changed a little bit since I had last visited there was that they had some audio guide recordings narrated by Sam Heughan, who plays Jamie in Outlander, and basically just talking about the different times that they filmed there and their experiences, and it was really, really interesting to listen to. So now we are in Culross, which is a filming location for Cranesmere, which was where, if you've seen it, Gaelis Duncan the Witch, that's where she lived. So I'm not going to lie, Culross was probably my favorite stop of the day. One, because it wasn't a castle, but also there was just something about it that was so like magical and fairy tale-esque. Like this view here of one of the village roads, I was just like, felt like I had stepped back in time, and that is because it's actually a historically preserved village, so any tour buses or anything coming through actually have to park a bit of the way down the road. And we walked up this set of stairs and had this view over the town and went to a place called the Hanging Garden, which was actually Gaelis's garden in Outlander. And it was just, we had about, I want to say an hour, and just the flowers and the vibes and the rain, like it was just such a beautiful hour. And I went around for a little walk after visiting the village. I can't get over how pretty this is. Like it's just very quiet and quaint and very like it's historically preserved. So most of the buildings are from the like 1600s. And something I'm doing currently is paying very close attention to the way that people drive on the roads and things like that, because tomorrow night we're picking up a car. I'm going to be driving on these roads. I'm not worried about traffic or anything like that. It's just making a mistake driving on the wrong side of the road for me. Now something I can't get over, and I've noticed it the last 3 days that I've been here, there's actually really, really beautiful just flowers everywhere, and the color, I think because there's so much rain, the color is just so vibrant. So we've got another like half an hour in this little town, and just want to explore this area a little bit. So I see this sign here that says Newgate, and then there's a little path. I'm not sure if this is open to the public, so we're going to follow it a little bit and see where it leads me. Oh, how pretty. Looks like it goes into the woods. Oh, this is going to be fun to go down. Okay, yeah, it just goes into the woods. Very pretty, though. My hand just hit some stinging nettles, which we don't really have in, well, Ottawa at least. Ouch. My leg just did too. Really not in the best footwear. But actually, the second time I hiked Arthur's Seat, I did so in flip-flops. So I've done stranger things. So it is evening now, and I am going out to do the walk that I was meant to do last night. It's like 8:15 in the evening. Because we're so much further north than I normally am, it's dark out a lot, or it's light out a lot later. So this is Linlithgow Palace. This is the Linlithgow Peel, which is like a public park. And the path just goes all the way around this walk. So the sign back there confirmed that it is 2.3 or 2.5 miles, which is about 4 kilometers. So I've got one more day tomorrow, and then I think I'm going to end this video. And tomorrow I'm going to Stirling, which was the city where I lived when I lived here in Scotland. On the Outlander tour today, a lot of the locations were around the Stirling area. So we passed walked by and you could see Stirling Castle and the Wallace Monument from the road, and it just filled me with such a, I don't even know how to put it, such a nostalgic feeling, but also a feeling of home. So this is a view I just stumbled upon, and this is a view that I wanted when I was going to come on this walk last night. Not even 10 seconds more walking, it was an even better view. Sometimes I see the first glimpse of a view and I'm like, oh my god, gotta get pictures, and then I'm impatient and I take time there when 2 seconds up the path there's a nicer view. Kind of a nice lesson in having patience, isn't it? Anyways, I'm very excited for the Highlands portion of our trip. We're doing 2 full days on the Isle of Skye, which I think should be stunning. But weirdly, I'm almost most excited to go back to Stirling. It's been 8 years, and it was a place that a lot of wonderful things happened. I had a lot of incredible experiences and made some incredible memories. There were also a few not so great things that happened, so I feel like returning there after so long and after I've done some nice healing, kind of a nice form of closure. Yeah, so anyways, last night I came down and I was in that pretty little garden area. I ran into this guy, very, very friendly, like really, really nice guy who grew up in Linlithgow. We got chatting and he showed me a couple different places around the castle, and then we ended up just walking around and chatting about life, and it was one of those chance encounters that ended up being really, really lovely, and I got, you know, I don't want to say the local flair, but it was really, really lovely. So by the time that we were kind of done chatting, it was way too late for me to do the walk, and I wasn't sure what time our tour was going to be back tonight, but I figured if I had the time to do it tonight, I would. Yeah, I find it really interesting to compare the way that I traveled now to the way that I did when I lived here, and I was 20 when I lived here. I was kind of all about seeing as much as I could in the time that I had, and I squeezed a lot into 4 months. Now, a lot of people, when they go on exchange in Europe, they jet off to a different country every weekend, but they see limited bits of that country. I did 1 Euro trip. I took a 4-day weekend, and I went to Belgium. But other than that, I did a lot of weekend trips within the UK and mainly Scotland. I did 2 trips down into the north of England. How I've traveled now, I'm a lot more, I don't want to say laid back, but I like to take some days where I go, you know, all intense, and other days where I have a more chill day. So for example, Monday was really intense. I was running on barely any sleep. I landed in Edinburgh at like 6:30 in the morning, got through customs, got into town at like 7:30, and then from then on I was go, did 30,000 steps. Yesterday we took a more relaxed morning. We didn't get into Edinburgh until about 2:30, and we were back early. I made some dinner, and then I went out and had a chance encounter with a very lovely person. Now I'm basically about making sure to take the rest that I need while also taking advantage of every little opportunity. The fun fact about me is that, if you can hear me, my favorite tree is a weeping willow. I just love them. They're so beautiful. Look at this little nest. No idea what kind of bird that is. So cute. Honestly, it's such a beautiful little town. Pro tip, if you're ever traveling, especially a place that you've already been before, stay in a smaller town. Use that as your home base. Go out during the day and use your evenings to explore the town that you're staying in. I can now confidently say that I can find my way around Linlithgow in the same way that I can find my way around Edinburgh and Stirling. So this is where things kind of cut off last night, but this was the little gardeny thing that I found. And honestly, it's one of the prettiest places I've seen so far in Scotland. Just something nice and little for the public to come and sit down. Like I said this morning, the flowers are just in full bloom right now, and they're so vibrant. I think partly because it's gray a lot, but also because it's so green due to the amount of rain. The colors of the flowers just pop like so. You know what? These are hydrangeas, maybe, but it's just really, really lovely.